If you'd like to stand, we'll sing our call to worship. One, two, three, four.
Good morning, friends. Welcome. What a beautiful morning it is. What a great season and a great time of the year. And it's just so wonderful when it's peppered with a little sunlight. So welcome to Unity of Traverse City. I'm Libby Robold, and it is my pleasure to be worship assistant this morning, assisted by my husband, Michael, co-worship assistant. And like to begin our morning thinking about this time of the year and how we honor the Advent season. And we have our candles up here, and we've been lighting them every week. And our theme today is peace. And, you know, peace as a practice allows us to remain very present amidst the noise and the hustle of the human journey. And I love, there's a saying that I know that says, peace is not a place of no noise, right? Peace is not a place of no noise. The Advent season is a time that we can really dedicate ourselves to being the peace, as Gandhi would always say, to be the peace we want to see in the outer world, but to be the peace that we want to see in our inner world as well. And we might want to take this day to just remember who we declare ourselves to be in this unique expression of being God in our communities, and being comforted by the knowledge that God is everywhere present and with us, that God is peace. And might we take the knowledge that creates the clearing for the rebirth of the Christ within, that Christ consciousness within each of us, and may peace as a practice leave us restored. And also, might it just afford us some strength and some poise that we need to make this wonderful time of the year meaningful and within that magical. So I would like to say, why not commit to making our peace a priority in our life and practice that especially on this day as we commemorate peace. There's a beautiful quote from Isaiah, "Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you." So on this day of Advent, may my heart and mind be established in the peace of God. And it is the second week of Advent, and the spiritual attribute then being peace, we're going to light the peace candle. So Michael will come up and take that on. And we're going to affirm together and take a listen to this affirmation. And after the candle's lit, we'll say together, I affirm the peace of God as I welcome, as a welcome companion. And let's just go ahead and say that together. I affirm the peace of God as my welcome companion. So as he lights the candle, I'd like you to take a look at that candle and sort of memorize the light. Today we see the light outside, but I'd like you to memorize that light and take it within inside you. And as you take a look at it and see it's flickering, visualize it and then close your eyes as we have our morning prayer. Father, Mother, God, may we know that no matter what's going on in our life, that we have the light. We have access to the light within. And knowing that, we can take all our travails, all our troubles, our hurts, our sorrows, our healings, and lead it to the light. The light is our true nature. It is our Christ consciousness within. And that we can bring up our brightness simply by thinking about it. That we can come to this morning to exude peace from our heart and to receive peace from the love and energy of fellowship. This time that we come together to explore, to be present, to nourish our spiritual oneness, and know that it will take us forth in ways beyond measure. And so it is this beautiful morning. Amen. Let's take our statement of unity and let's affirm that together. Together. Wherever I consciously align my heart and mind with God, I am home. And so it is.
Thank you. If you'd like to stand again, please, for our next congregational song. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Something wonderful is happening in my life. I believe it. Something wonderful is happening here. I believe. Something wonderful is happening in this place. I can see it. Something wonderful is happening here. I can see. Something wonderful is happening in my heart. I can feel it. Something wonderful is happening here. I can feel something wonderful is happening in my life. I believe it. Something wonderful is happening here. I believe. I believe. I believe. I believe.
Well, we have a few announcements. And as those of you who've been coming here on a regular basis or possibly irregular, you're familiar with Kit Holmes. the wonderfully gifted musician, writes her songs, sings her songs, and then she's going to be our guest speaker today, too. What a combination. So, welcome, Kit.
Thank you, Michael.
At least the weather was such that you had a nice drive up from.
Yes, I did.
Now, next Sunday, our guest speaker will be Homer Nye, coming back after a bit of an absence. I think he's been busy and possibly traveling. So if you haven't heard Homer before, please be sure to come next Sunday for his talk. And then on the 18th, once again, former minister here at Traverse City, Unity of Traverse City, is Judy Grimes. And then on the Christmas Eve service, Libby and I will be doing the service, and that will be another special Christmas Eve with candle lighting and music and a good time to, of course, explore and celebrate the Christmas that follows. We do need some help for our holiday time of year for the Women's Resource Center. And you can make a significant impact that provides both Unity and the Women's Resource Center with needed funds by signing up for a script card. And if you're not familiar with a script card, it's very simple. In the hallway, just as you're about to enter the fellowship room, is a table with a variety of clipboards. And all you have to do is sign up for a variety of possibilities exist as to a card that you would receive to purchase at these locations, whether it's gasoline for your car or merchandise at a place like Meijer or, Walmart and other participating vendors. It doesn't cost you any more. There's no fee added to it. You're just getting a straight amount of money. Could be $20, it could be $50, it could be $100. You choose, and the church then receives a small part of that, and so does the Women's Resource Center. Now, you can also, if you like, just make a special donation, cash or check, or I'm not sure about the credit card, but just if you do write a check or make a donation by cash, just signify if that's what you want it to go to, the Women's Resource Center. All donations will be delivered to the Women's Resource Center 1 week from tomorrow. So if you're interested, please take care of that today. And then board applications. Next Sunday is also the deadline for applying if you're interested to serve on the Unity Board of Trustees. And that election will take place in February at our annual meeting. Now, we haven't had too much snow, but we will, of course. And the driveway, the parking lot is typically plowed when we do have a certain amount of snow. But even so, we can always use help with our back sidewalk entry as well as the front entry. So if you're interested in doing a little shoveling, a little sprinkling of salt, that would help out. And volunteers are encouraged to talk to Bob White about your willingness to, it might be one Sunday a month. Just depends on what winter's like. So we'll wait and see on that. And I think that takes care of our announcements.
You can stay seated for this next congregational song. It is very, very simple. God is, I am right here, right now, right here, right now. God is, I am. God is, I am. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. God is, I am. Let's do that again. God is, I am. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. God is, I am.
Take that feel with you. God is, I am, right here, right now. And invite yourself into your inner space. We are citizens of two worlds. We are citizens of our outer world and citizens of our inner world. And when we come to that place of meditation, we can explore these worlds at a deeper level, remembering God is, I am. And the more we explore, the more these two worlds become one. May I feel the peace of God in my body, allowing my feet to ground to the earth and my heart to lift to the heavens. May I invite myself in by letting my whole body breathe the power of spirit. May I settle into this moment unafraid, letting go, releasing all angst, and just knowing that even in my outer world, where my active mind takes me places, external influences, behaviors impact my mind, I can say what is happening in this outer world, in my citizenry in the outer world. And without judging, take a little look. What's happening in that outer world? And then I can look into that citizenry of my inner world. Headed by my reflective mind, that part of me that can look inward. But that can also bring up witness consciousness, the witness that lives inside me, that observes everything going on in my life, inner and outer, with no judgment, no opinion, just pure presence. Because God is, and I am. I can sense my vision of my inner body, my spiritual endeavors, and I can ask myself, what's happening in my inner world right now? What's happening here? Without judgment, but with compassion. Remembering that I am and God is. Then I might bring balance to these two seeming different worlds to bring harmony and peace. Yes, now I can remember peace. I can take the peace in my breath coming in. I can release peace as I breathe out. I can remember that peace is not a place of no noise. That peace is that place of being in the midst of the noise, in the midst of the chaos, and being so connected, so centered in the I am and God is, that I can feel the ease and the joy and comfort within myself regardless of circumstances. Without peace in my inner world, there can be no peace in my outer world. And so might I, in this moment, for the sake of my family, my community, for the sake of inner peace in the world today, for peace and those who exude peace in the outer world this day, I can make inner peace my highest priority. And I can do that by letting go of any anger, any fear, any worries, and replace that with a breath of calm. I breathe in calm. I let go what I do not need. And for a moment, a brief moment in the quiet, I can practice this art of letting go whatever I don't need today and just keep watching myself breathe in calm and let go, release in the quiet. I breathe in the calm that is peace, and I can envision any areas of unrest within me transformed into a safe haven. I can see beyond conflict and discord, both in my inner world and my outer world. And the more I can create, take time out and breathe in calm and create that calm state of being in my inner world, then I immediately bring calm to my outer experience. And the more I practice inner quiet, the more I practice inner calming, the more my inner world and my outer world become one. I envision the feeling and the blessing of being calm. And I I can breathe peace and tranquility into any moment at will. And remember, God is, I am. I can practice the art of letting go. And let God. I can let go because I care deeply. And I can remember, God is, I am. I am peace, I am calm, I am tranquility, and all is well in my world. And so it is. Amen.
When you're weary, parched or broken, come to the well. Cool, clear water, it is calling you. Beggars, sinners, teachers, saints, come to the well. Joyful crowds of lonesome travelers all along the road. Come to the well, drink your fill. Come to the well and heal, and heal. Deep and sacred, wise and ancient, open your eyes. Elemental for survival, it will never run dry. Come to the well, drink your fill. Come to the well and heal, and heal. Come to the well, drink your fill. Come to the well and heal, and heal. Mike, there, oh, hello. Good morning again. It's lovely to see you all again. Sorry we missed a couple weeks ago, but I think everybody did. A little bit of a snow event. And thank you again for just keeping everybody safe and taking care of each other. My talk title this morning is Welcome to Your Dream Home. Yeah. And in this season of light and just beauty, just so much beauty going on, especially up here. The color of the sky, when the sun is out, there's nothing like the Michigan blue skies anywhere else that I know of. And home is this time of year a pretty important place. The idea of home can be a touchy place. Lots of feels around home. A few weeks ago, I think it's been, I don't know how many weeks since the last time I was here, minus the snow day, we talked about the hero's journey. And this was finishing up of the hero's journey, where the hero's journey starts at home and it ends at home. And we are not the same when we come back. We go on that big journey. We go through all of our adventures. We go through all of our trials and tribulations. We meet our adversaries along the way. We meet our allies along the way. And when we get back home, we have a new wisdom, a new knowledge, a new something to share with those who stayed back and held down the fort. Many of you may or may not know, I have a lot of experience in remodeling houses. And last summer in particular, my house in Manistee where I live is 102 years old. And as I have done, going in the attic and looking at the foundation in the basement and so forth, especially the attic, you can see where the house was just a straight-on box, and it was added on to later. You can see it in the roof line. You can see it in all the other places around how it was put together. I found out that when I was doing research on the tax records a couple years ago, they only went back to 1953. And I was scratching my head, of course, because when I bought the house, it said it was built in 1920. And so as it turned out, down the historical museum downtown Manistee, all the handwritten records and the mats and the plats and the so forth and so on, it turns out that the original address of my house was 72 Lake Street. Well, 72 Lake Street doesn't exist anymore because in 1953, the highway department came through and moved the road through downtown Manistee. And the owner of the house, Mrs. Yankee, made a deal with the highway department, and they agreed that she would give them the land, they would build her a new foundation, and they would move the house. And it's only about 700 feet from where it originally sat. But so I sit right on 31. And so as I'm going through looking at the house and the different lining and so forth and so on, my little office that I use up front, in the front of the house now, I started peeling wallpaper. And if you've ever done that, you know that sometimes it's just easier to paint over it. And I've done that too. I did that in the living room. But as I was peeling off 5 layers of wallpaper and some paint underneath it, at the very front of the house, there was a big crack in the lath and plaster wall. And I was being very, very careful and, of course, pulling the wallpaper, and this big corner of the wall came crashing down. It's like, well, yep, going to have to fix that now, aren't I? So the point of all of this is, what I was seeing in this particular, it was metaphorical, of course. What had happened last summer and through this last year, as many of you know, there'd been a lot going on in my life. One would be enough, but there had been a series of things that have just, for lack of a better pun or metaphor, had just about knocked me off my foundation. So I knew I had to repair that wall. And I was standing there and looking at these other places in the house, and this beautiful inspiration dropped in, and it said, you can't plaster over the cracks, you can't paint over the cracks until you fix the foundation. The metaphor for our lives. So it got me thinking about the dream home. I've always wanted an old house to remodel. I got my dream. Boy. Sometimes a nightmare, yes. Many of you probably know about that. So the whole metaphor here is that we begin life, we begin our spiritual life, we begin our intellectual, physical, mind, body, spirit. We got to start with the foundation. When we come into this life, our spiritual foundation is a given. Our emotional, mental foundation is a given. We come in with the wonder of a child. We come in absolutely knowing our inherent connection to spirit, to source, to God, whatever you call it. You look into a newborn's eyes and you cannot help but feel love. Can you not? There's something that just breaks you wide open. There is absolutely no doubt that these newborns are gifts from God. They're angels. We call them angels. We call them all these things because they are innocent and pure, and we are. We might not be able to articulate it yet as a newborn that we know our connection to Source, but we do. We don't doubt it. We have our feelings as newborns. When we're hungry, when we're tired, when we need our diapers changed, we don't have any issue expressing our feelings, right? Our physical things are taken care of. Our source, we are connected to our source. Everything, in most cases, everything is provided for. So our foundation coming in is really solid. And the fun starts, though, when those well-meaning, loving people in our lives bringing in their experience and generational things begin to tell us who we aren't. We begin to hear things if we're not doing it their way, if we're not, if we are having our feelings and our parents are sleep deprived, we begin to hear things like, don't cry, don't do this, don't feel, don't feel, don't feel. Don't trust your feelings, don't trust your judgment. So our foundation seems to get a little bit rocky, and we start to learn that it is not, maybe not so solid. And our spiritual journey is the idea of getting back to foundation all the time. All the time. The teachings in Science of Mind, the basic teachings of Science of Mind is called Foundations class. It's called Foundations. Here are the basics. Here are the things you need to know. Well, here's the things you need to remember. And they're very similar to the same principles in unity. God is all there is, number one. That's our foundation. When we live from that place, everything else builds on top of that. How we build that is the way we are, the paradigms and the beliefs that become ours. Other people create our framework for us. So if you think about the building of a house, you begin with the foundation. It's got to be on something solid. We live on sandy, loamy soil up here, a lot of sand. And whether we're pier and beam or we're pouring a basement, whatever, it's got to go down to a certain level so we know it's not going to move, at least not very much. Our foundation is Source. In our physical body, our foundation is our spine, if you think of it that way. Our foundation, everything comes from the spine. Then we put the framing up. Our framing are our muscles and our skin. Our heating and ventilation systems is our respiratory, circulatory systems. Our electrical system is our nervous system. And I go on and on and on with the metaphor, but you get, what's really interesting to me is that even as beginning of our existence as humans, we have recreated the safe place, the place that we live, that we thrive. We have recreated the womb, a womb with a view, as it were, in our dream homes, right? And I look, as you do this work, and sometimes it gets so, one little thing and the wall isn't square and you're adjusting and, doing little things that I would not ever pay anybody to do, because they would not, they just paint over it or do something like that. But the work that we do, it's the metaphor for the spiritual work that we do as well, the physical work that we do in the world. We have to maintain, we have to take care of the temple, the home. If we don't, the system gets dirty, it gets clogged. Plumbing is plumbing, physical or house in your body, whatever. We don't have to go there. We know what we're talking about in the system. We have to maintain it and take care of it, otherwise it decays. It goes into disrepair, it goes into collapse. We have to do that with our spiritual lives as well. Remember to go back to the foundation. The dream home idea is something, as I've moved through the years, and I think it's as we grow and we get older, we understand what's important to us, right? Because the dream home could be some big mansion on a hill somewhere, but if everything else is missing in your life, you're just rambling around in a bunch of rooms that have to be cleaned. I think about this time of year, Miracle on 34th Street and little Susie Walker. Another metaphor, she had in mind the dream home. The dream home. She had the very practical mother who was just a cynic and no, Santa Claus doesn't exist. Everything has to be logical and sensible and up in her head. And little Susie Walker was, nope, absolutely believing in my heart that there is home for us. There is a home for us. And she held on to that foundation. She held on to that place. It wasn't, in the end, it was a physical thing, and she had an idea of it. But it was a feeling for her. If you could recall, at the very end of the movie, after Santa Claus has been proved to be Santa Claus, and they're driving, and here's the new mate for her mother, Doris, and they're riding in the car, and little Susie sees the house and says, "That's the house. That's the one." And of course, there's a for sale sign out in front of it. It's hanging on to this idea that everything comes off of the foundation of love. Despite the cynicism, despite things that don't look like peace, the things that look like disruption and chaos in the world, we talk about this in this teaching. The foundation is this, and it was the foundation from the master teacher as well. It is love. And if we come from the foundation of love, everything fills in around it. When we set aside our worry, how is it going to happen? I don't know. I'm going to keep leaning into the idea that my foundation is built on the fact that I live in a very friendly universe. I didn't used to believe that, but I do now. And it's amazing that as that becomes my mantra and that everything works out for me, everything is always in my favor, the universe is a loving place, I get more of that proves my belief. There's a story of a carpenter. I guess it could work for the master teacher, but that's not the case where I'm going with this, even though we're coming up to the celebration of that birth. Of a carpenter who worked for close to 50 years, worked for the same builder, worked for some other folks, but building houses, and he was a great carpenter, and he had all the tricks and all the tools, and he knew how to do things. He could, by himself, if he needed to, build an entire house by himself. He'd learned that much over time. And he was ready to retire. And he was really tired, and his hands hurt, and his knees hurt, and his back hurt, as you can imagine, doing that labor for that many years. And he went to his builder boss that he'd been working for all of those years, and he said, "I'm ready to retire. I'm done." And the builder said to him, "I've got one more house for you to build. I would really like your help. We're coming up on the holidays. Want to get it finished. I really need your help." And he was like, "God, I really don't want to do this." And he just got cranky and ornery about the whole thing, but he agreed to do it. But he came into it, his attitude had shifted. He's like, "I just want to get this house done." So he's cutting corners, and he's doing some things a little not, a little off skew, and if it's off, he's like, yeah, whatever, I'm just going to paint over it. He didn't take time. He didn't put his love and his energy and his passion into it. So the house is finally complete, and the builder comes to him one day, and he said, yep, the house is very complete. I congratulate you on your retirement. Thank you all for all your years of service, and he hands the guys the keys. And he says, what are these? And the carpenter says, what are these? And the builder says, the keys to your new home. This is your home now. It's our gift to you as a retirement. So yeah, think about coming from the foundation of love. We can, of course, get tired. We can get stressed. We can have all of these things. We can allow the minutia of life to bombard us daily. And if we decide we're going to go over here to it and say, ain't it awful? And why doesn't anybody listen to me? Why doesn't anybody love me? Why doesn't anybody do what I want to do? Gripey. Especially this time of year. Everybody's ramped up. It's easy. It is the easiest thing in the world to go into ain't it awful. And our work to get us back home to our dream home foundation is to keep as best we can coming from a place of love. So what is my ideal dream home? It's pretty simple. The basics. Shelter, light, water, warmth. The amenities that are places that are comfortable for me to feel like I can create. I feel like it's a sanctuary. And I do like to have a washer and dryer. That's kind of a given. Everything else is negotiable, mostly. But my dream home is also filled with interesting visitors. People that I have deep conversations with. People that are exploring, still bringing a sense of childlike wonder. Laughter. Sharing meals. My dream home is not in a certain place. Just like this building does not make the church, your physical house does not make the home. It's the people, it's the attitude, it's the consciousness of love. I could be anywhere on the planet. Anywhere where I'm connecting with people creatively and in a sense of wonder, in a sense of exploration and learning something new, growing, evolving, changing. Being love in the world, being light in the world. And as it turns out, that's kind of pretty cool because we can all do that. You might have a home here or a second home somewhere not to be in winter here, not to be here in the winter. Or you could be a traveler. You could be somebody who visits every continent, all of these things. Because the deal is, wherever we are is home. That's the idea. That is our dream home. There's a little part of that affirmation that we do at the end of the service every Sunday here. Wherever we go, God is. So if we are conscious of that idea, no matter where we go, physically, emotionally, mentally, in our dreams and our imagination, when we are aligned, when heart and mind are aligned with God, we are home. So I invite you through the rest of this month and going into the high points of the holiday season to think about that. This planet as a whole is our home. We have been given such enormous gifts. And our job is to be the stewards of them, to be the maintenance workers. Just as we take care of our physical home, we take care of our celestial home. We take care of our hearts. We take care of the hearts of others as our loving home, our spiritual home. So I invite you to go easy as you can the next few weeks, in knowing wherever you are, God is, and so you are home. And taking care of that is the most important thing that we can do. Because it gives us, it will guide us, it will say, today's going to be a day that I say no to all of these parties. Or to visiting somebody I just can't fit in the schedule, or somebody that is going to pull me off my foundation. We know these people in our lives, do we not? And the idea here is to be easy to let go of that sense of obligation just because it's the holidays that we have to, we should, when the most important thing that will open up what we are really meant to do, the most important thing is that we connect. We go right back to foundation and say, I'm here, God. I'm here, Spirit. I'm here to express. I'm here. You are expressing through me and as me. So I'm just going to sit here and get quiet till I know what that is today. And it might mean just staying home and meditating for a while and just being in the stillness. Being in that sense of peace that Libby talked about. Today, peace, the theme for Advent. Peace does begin within. Absolutely. It can't not. So welcome home to your dream home. You're already in it. Yes, it will need some remodeling down the road, or you might just really like it the way it is. But a little paint job every now and then, a little dusting, a little cleaning the windows. Maybe not right now because it's really cold to clean windows. But you know what I'm talking about. Wherever you are, God is. And all is well. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Kit. As we give thought to this time that is our time of giving of our personal prosperity, might we give thought to the home we live in? And yes, there are some cracks somewhere. And we could certainly all probably think, I would love to do a little remodeling, but maybe I just don't have the resources. And yet, this home does provide a place for me to feel safe and keep out the cold. And so when we think about a time of giving, especially at this time of the year when many of us might be thinking about people we want to give gifts to, and we're looking at our resources, do I have enough? And just a little postscript on that wonderful lesson. You may have read in the paper that on election day, a home in the area burned to the ground. And Libby and I know those two. It was their dream home. And unfortunately, it's underinsured. And they will build anew at some point. But all that planning that went into it, and the attachment that we all have for whether it's our dream home or just our basic home, to lose it all. So we have to go in and recognize that we're still okay. After all, it was just a building, but it's more than a building. So at home, that sense of knowing that within us exists our security and the warmth and the peace of this season will carry us through. So as you hold your gift, let's affirm it. Affirm our prosperity. The words are on the screen. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you. And so it is.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and wind, my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions to the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred toilsome souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks for the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Well, thank you again, Kit, you fantastic musicians. Thank you, AJ. Thank you to our ushers and those who have prepared some food for our after-service fellowship and refreshments at the other end of the service. And if you are new here, if you've never been to this service, we do have packets of information that would give you more details about what Unity is all about. And we welcome you and hope that you'll return, and certainly take time to meet with other folks here at the other end of the church. And for those who might be interested in working on the snow removal, see Bob. If you're interested in the script cards, but really aren't sure what that's all about. There'll be somebody back there to explain how it all takes place. And if you are in need of a special prayer for you or a loved one, we do have chaplains. One will be right up here, and one will be in the hallway. And remember the upcoming Sunday lessons. And I think, have I covered everything? Well, let's stand up. Stretch out into a nice circle.
Holmes open. Some of you like to take it on as we gather for our closing prayer. And it's a great opportunity and time for us to also know that the power that we have within this circle of love that we give out, as Kit was saying, the love that we have within us, that we can also give to others. Simply by thinking about it, simply by offering prayer. So if there's someone in your life today that you know, a group of people, or an issue that you're just passionate about, where someone needs love, support, guidance, or healing, bring them into your heart and mind right now. And if you would like,
You can speak their name aloud in this circle of love, in this circle of healing here. And also include yourself in that. And do that now. Tricia.
may we acknowledge
all these wonderful beings and more. And may we also acknowledge all who might be suffering in the world this day, and give love and compassion and see it go their way. And as we come to the close of our service now, might we speak together our wonderful prayer of protection together. The love of God enfolds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment, peace eternally. Oh, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.